Hi friends, it's Deanna Willison with Our Blooming Catholic Life, and I'm going to attempt to make something a little bit more clear to you, and we're going to see how that goes. So I've been praying, I think you know I use the Brev Meum app, and I've been praying some older versions of the Liturgy of the Hours. But whatever version you pray, there are rankings of days. They're ranked differently, but the same. For some reason, they keep changing the name of them to make it easier, but it's kind of silly. Okay, so if you're looking at some of the older things, it may say simplex, semi-duplex, duplex, ferial, or dominical. It may say the day, and then it may say like a saint's name or something with attached to that. In these Chunky Monkey 4-volume and Christian Prayer have a table in the front. Let's see if I can grab it quick. They call it a table, but here's the funny thing. It's not actually a table. It's like lists. Table of liturgical days. See this Roman numeral 1? That's one of the rankings. So how do they correspond? Hold on, and I'll get in there. And then there's, of course, we have books like the planner here and some other books that have it listed differently. Let's try and get in here. Okay. So the tables they have in there that are actually lists that are in the 4-volume, they have the Roman numerals 1, 2, and 3. Okay. What are the rankings? Those don't... This one, it's not super clear, and that's where people get super confused. And it gives you the table, but doesn't really tell you what to do with it. So here it says the order of precedence. So that's it. If something whatever occurs first in this list is higher priority. So under 1, Roman numeral 1, there are 4 things listed. 1 is the Easter Triduum of the Lord's Passion and Resurrection. 2 is Christmas, Epiphany, Ascension, and Pentecost. Sundays of Advent, Lent, and the season of Easter. Ash Wednesday, weekdays of Holy Week, Monday to Thursday, inclusive days within the octave of Easter. 3 includes the solemnities of the Lord, the Blessed Virgin Mary, and the saints listed in the general calendar, as well as All Souls Day. 4 is proper solemnities, namely A, solemnity of the principal patron of a place, city, or state. B, solemnity of the dedication and anniversary of the dedication of a particular church. C, solemnity of the titular saint of a particular church. D, solemnity of the titular saint, founder, or principal patron of an order or congregation. 2 starts out with number 5, feasts of the Lord in the general calendar. 6, Sundays of the Christmas season and Sundays in ordinary time. 7, feasts of the Blessed Virgin Mary and the saints in the general calendar. You're like, wait, I heard the Blessed Virgin Mary earlier. Well, those were her solemnities. Now her feasts are ranked less than her solemnities. And you're like, well, what are those words then? Solemnities in some categories were the highest things, solemnities. It was solemnitas. And then underneath that was festum, and then memoria. And under memoria, you either had prescribed or optional. And then the lowest were called the ferial days. And those were Tuesday through Saturday, no feast, okay? And then there's something they called the Feast of Precept, which we've changed to mean Holy Day of Obligation. There were also Sundays and sacred times. Sacred times means Lent and Advent. Okay, one more. And the thing is, all of these categories have different requirements for how you pray them in the Liturgy of the Hours. So if you've ever prayed the Liturgy of the Hours, and sometimes it starts at Vespers, the night before the feast, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes, even though it's somebody's feast day, you start the other one, and sometimes you don't, even though you could. And you get very confused. We're not discussing all that today. We're just kind of going over the topics. Okay. So when we talk about the simplex, the semi-duplex, the duplex, the ferial, and the dominical, if it's not listed after a saint's name, assume it's simplex. Whew. Isn't that nice? That's a nice, easy one. Ferial, we came across that again. It means it's not a feast, and it's between Monday matins and Saturday none. So it's a little bit more specific than the ferial days post-Vatican II. The simplex starts in the middle of Vespers. The middle of Vespers, you have to love that. the night before, and it's just some parts. And it ends at none. A semi-duplex begins at Vespers the night before, the whole thing, and continues to the second Vespers. And there are notes here about the antiphon. Not going to go into that today. What is a duplex, though? Historically, that was the highest feast of Jesus, Mary, the apostles, and a few others like Gregory the Great. It was expanded after Trent, and then it had to get subdivided because it started getting crazy. It has the antiphons in their entirety. It is expanded most of the offices, so you're saying more psalms and things, and it is less penitential in a duplex. And then the Dominical is Sunday. It has here ferial / feast. It begins first Vespers Saturday and goes to the second Vespers Sunday and expands all the hours again. What did I mean about the antiphon with the special time? There are some of them that the antiphon, you will say half of the antiphon when you start the psalm, and then the full antiphon after it. So if you've encountered that sometimes and been like, what's that about? That has to do with ranking. And we're going to get to that. And this has probably completely blown your mind. I had to write out, I've handwritten charts and things just to even get this far. I'm starting to get the hang of the language. Okay, so ferial is a non-feast. It's basically Tuesday through Saturday, but you could really say it's late Monday. A simplex is middle of Vespers and the night before. The middle of Vespers the night before, and then it ends at none. Semi-duplex is Vespers the night before, continues to second Vespers, and there's some special treatment of the antiphons there. Duplex is the highest, so ferial, simplex, semi-duplex, duplex. So it's like the major feast or duplex, and then we have Dominicals, right? Sunday. Dominus has to do with God, so it's Sunday. It's the biggies right there. Whew. Now, you don't have to know any of that if you're using this. You just find your day here on this chart and then go down. So the trick is, though, like the titular things kind of get you. Those are the ones that aren't really explicit in other things. So that is like a titular saint is who you're named after, title, okay, titular title. So if you go to St. Joseph's Parish, St. Joseph's feast day is going to be a bigger day to you. Also, the day your church is dedicated on is a big day for you. Why am I saying these? Because those are things that are going to be particular to your locale. So if you're doing Liturgy of the Hours with people from around the world, they're not going to be celebrating that feast, even though it's a feast, is not going to be as highly ranked for them as it is for you. So also you have the feast of your fraternity if you're a secular Franciscan, but also your regional fraternity. And then we have our international patrons as well. See what I mean? Here's where it gets tricky. If your town is named after a saint, you're probably going to be celebrating that in your local town. But somewhere else, it won't be as highly ranked. See where it gets? I know this video is a little confusing, but if you listen to it a couple times, start writing it down in a way that makes sense to you. It's going to help you when you pray the Liturgy of the Hours. Now, the apps like the Brev Meum, it's in the title. As soon as you open it up for that hour, it's going to tell you. Well, let's look. We'll just go ahead and look for today for what I have the settings. Don't worry about what I have settings. If I click on Matins, it says St. Julian de Falconeris Virginis Duplex. Woo! And then Feria Quarta Infra Hebdomadem for Post Octavum Pentecost. So it's a weekday after whatever the Heb word is. After that, after the octave of Pentecost. Okay, that's where the scripture comes from. But it's St. Julian de Falconeris Virginis in a duplex, so pretty big deal today. Now, if I go to Louds, does it still say that? Yep. Because remember, it's a pretty big deal day, so I'm thinking, but that includes a commemoration. When I got to Prima, it has St. Gervasi et Protassi Martyr. So there's somebody else is going to be mentioned as well, but it's not a big deal. Still mentioned it, tertia. Let's look at secta. Yep, both of them still. Nona. Yep, both of them. Vespers. So here it says at the end, it lists them both again. Then it says, Vespera de precedebunt commemoratio de sequenti. So I think that's saying, in Vespers, I don't know if it means preceding, like commemoration de sequenti. So we're going to start. I was thinking of saying that this one precedes that one, and so the commemoration is going to be secondary. I believe that's what that says. And when we get to complete torium, it is just the saint listed as duplex. That commemoration is gone. So that's why people come and go throughout the day if you're looking at it. So it does make it more complex. And I know that I wasn't doing that in my 4 volume. That's pretty complex. And I don't think of the modern Liturgy Hours apps are keeping up with that in quite the detail that some of these older apps are doing. Apps using older rubrics are doing. I hope that helps you. At least exposes you to those words, so when you see them next time, you're going to think a little bit more carefully about them. Again, what are the rankings? If you're using the 4-volume or Christian Prayer, the rankings are Roman numeral 1 is on the top, and then as we go down, it is 2 and then 3. That's pretty easy. If you want to start at the top in the old system, it was duplex. I think Dominical. Nope. See, where do Dominical and Ferial, where do they fit in? But duplex is the highest, then semi-duplex, simplex, and I think Ferial's after that. Dominical, I think, is its own whole category. Still working on it, obviously. If you've got any great resource on that, please send it out to us. We'd love to see it. If you've got a beautiful chart that explains the new versus the old and exactly how this all works, that would be lovely. But this is where I am on my journey right now, and I hope you're following along with me. Friends, may God bless you and keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may the good Lord bless you in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.